Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Lore Files. Remember the 90s? The decade of dial-up, grunge music, and some truly unforgettable movies. But while we all remember the big blockbusters, what about the thrillers that kept us on the edge of our seats, only to fade from our collective memory? Today, we're redusting off the VHS tapes and diving deep into 15 incredible 90s thrillers you've probably forgotten. Let's kick things off with a nail-biter from 1997, Breakdown. Kurt Russell and his wife are driving cross-country when their car breaks down in the middle of nowhere. A seemingly helpful trucker offers his wife a ride to the nearest diner, but when Kurt gets the car running and arrives, nobody has seen her. It's a paranoia-fueled nightmare that will make you think twice about accepting help from strangers. Audiences loved Russell's everyman push to the limit performance, and it's a masterclass in building tension from a simple, terrifying premise. Fun fact, the original ending was much darker, but test audiences found it too bleak, so it was reshot to be more crowd-pleasing. Next up, from 1993, we have The Good Son. Remember Macaulay Culkin as the adorable kid from Home Alone? Well, forget that. Here, he plays Henry, a charming but deeply disturbed child whose cousin Mark, played by Elijah Wood, comes to stay after a family tragedy. Mark slowly realizes that Henry's innocent games have a sinister, deadly edge. It was a shocking role for Culkin at the time, and critics and audiences were divided. Some found it hard to accept America's sweetheart as a villain. A little trivia: the film's writer, Ian McEwan, was so unhappy with the final version that he wrote a novel based on his original, much darker screenplay. Let's jump to 1999 for Arlington Road. Jeff Bridges plays a college professor who becomes obsessed with his new neighbors, played by Tim Robbins and Joan Cusack, suspecting they're domestic terrorists. Is he a grief-stricken man seeing conspiracies everywhere, or is he onto something truly horrifying? The film expertly plays with your perceptions, and the ending is one of the most shocking and audacious of the entire decade. It didn't make a huge splash at the box office, but it's since gained a massive cult following for its brave and unforgettable final act. Now for a legal thriller that is more than just courtroom drama, 1996 Primal Fear. An ambitious defense attorney, played by Richard Gere, takes on a high-profile case defending an altar boy, played by a then-unknown Edward Norton, accused of murdering an archbishop. The case seems straightforward, but it's full of twists and turns. This was Norton's film debut, and it earned him an Oscar nomination. He completely steals the show with a performance that is just mesmerizing. It's a smart, slick thriller that holds up incredibly well. The film was based on a novel, and Norton actually beat out over 2,000 other actors for the part. Thank goodness he did. Remember Single White Female from 1992? Bridget Fonda plays a young woman in New York City who, after a bad breakup, places an ad for a roommate. Jennifer Jason Leigh answers, and at first, she seems perfect. But she slowly starts to copy Bridget's character, her hair, her clothes, her identity, with terrifying and violent consequences. The film tapped into a very real fear of the stranger you let into your home. It was a box office hit and became a cultural touchstone for describing an obsessive, creepy admirer. The term single white female even entered the popular lexicon for a while. Let's go to 1990 for Pacific Heights. A young couple, played by Melanie Griffith and Matthew Modine, buy their dream home and rent out a room to a seemingly perfect tenant, played by Michael Keaton. But he soon reveals himself to be a sociopath who systematically destroys their lives and tries to steal their home. Keaton is absolutely chilling in this role, a complete departure from his comedic work. It is a yuppie nightmare that preys on the anxieties of homeownership and the legal loopholes that can be exploited by a clever con artist. Sliding into 1998, we have A Simple Plan. Directed by Sam Raimi, this is a much more somber and character-driven thriller. Two brothers, played by Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton, along with a friend, discover a crashed plane with over $4 million in cash. They decide to keep it, creating a simple plan to avoid suspicion. Of course, paranoia and greed quickly turn their lives into a violent, tragic mess. It's a powerful story about how ordinary people can be corrupted. Billy Bob Thornton earned an Oscar nomination for his heartbreaking performance. The film was shot in rural Minnesota in the dead of winter, and you can feel the cold, bleak isolation in every frame. Next is a sci-fi thriller from 1998, Dark City. A man wakes up in a hotel bathtub with amnesia, wanted for a series of murders he can't remember. He discovers he lives in a city where the sun never shines, and a group of mysterious beings called the Strangers have the power to stop time and alter reality. Directed by Alex Proyas, it is a visually stunning neo-noir film that was overshadowed by The Matrix a year later, but many argue Dark City is the more inventive film. It bombed at the box office, but is now considered a sci-fi classic. Fun fact, the film's sets were later repurposed for The Matrix. From 1995, we have Copycat. Sigourney Weaver plays a brilliant criminal psychologist who becomes agoraphobic after a brutal attack. From her apartment, she helps two detectives, played by Holly Hunter and Dermot Mulroney, track a serial killer who is meticulously recreating the crimes of famous past murderers. It's a race against time as she realizes the killer is coming for her. The film is a smart, stylish procedural that was praised for its strong female leads, which was less common for the genre at the time. Let's talk about 1991's Dead Again. Directed by and starring Kenneth Branagh, this is a wonderfully complex Hitchcockian thriller. Branagh plays a private detective who helps an amnesiac woman, played by Emma Thompson, uncover her identity. Their investigation leads them to believe they are the reincarnations of a composer and his wife, who was murdered 40 years earlier. Is history doomed to repeat itself? The film cleverly uses black and white for the flashback scenes and was a critical success, praised for its romantic, old-fashioned Hollywood style. Now for a paranoia-fueled gem from 1995, The Net. Sandra Bullock plays a computer analyst who lives her life almost entirely online. She stumbles upon a conspiracy and suddenly finds her entire identity erased. A new identity, complete with a criminal record, is created for her, and she must go on the run to prove who she is. Looking back, this film was incredibly ahead of its time, predicting the dangers of digital identity theft and our reliance on technology. It was a huge hit and solidified Bullock's status as a leading lady. How about a tense courtroom drama from 1994, The Client? A young boy, played by the late Brad Renfro, witnesses the suicide of a mob lawyer and learns a dangerous secret. Hunted by the mob and pressured by an ambitious federal prosecutor, his only ally is a recovering alcoholic lawyer, played by Susan Sarandon. It's a gripping John Grisham adaptation, and Sarandon earned an Oscar nomination for her fantastic performance. Renfro, just 11 years old, gave an incredible debut performance that critics raved about. Let's revisit 1997 for The Game. Michael Douglas plays a wealthy, cold-hearted investment banker whose estranged brother, Sean Penn, gives him a strange birthday gift, entry into a live-action, real-world game. But the lines between the game and reality quickly blur, and he begins to fear for his life. Directed by David Fincher, this is a puzzle box of a movie that will keep you guessing until the very last frame. Is it a game, a conspiracy, or is he just losing his mind? The film's intricate plot and that jaw-dropping ending make it a must-see. Next up, a forgotten gem from 1992, Unlawful Entry. Ray Liotta plays a charismatic but unstable cop who helps a young couple, Kurt Russell and Madeline Stowe, after a break-in. His hope soon turns into a terrifying obsession as he begins to stalk the couple and insert himself into their lives. Leota is electrifying and truly frightening. It's a tense, effective thriller that explores the fear of someone in a position of power abusing that trust. Finally, we close out with 1990's Jacob's Ladder. Tim Robbins plays a Vietnam vet living in New York City who is plagued by bizarre, terrifying flashbacks and hallucinations. He struggles to decipher what is real and what is a symptom of his trauma as his reality completely unravels. This is a surreal, psychological horror film that is deeply unsettling and profoundly sad. Its twist ending has been imitated countless times, but rarely equaled. The film was a critical darling, but a commercial flop, only finding its audience on home video, where it's now considered a masterpiece of psychological terror, and that's our list. 15 forgotten thrillers from the 90s that are absolutely worth rediscovering. How many of these have you seen? And what other forgotten gems did we miss? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.